Braces or Invisalign? Which one's right for you? We get that question daily. And honest answer, it depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what your needs are and what you want. Braces and Invisalign both work to straighten teeth. We can both correct bites. We can do lots of amazing things with both of them. And so I usually go over the pros and cons of both. A lot of times for kids, it's about compliance. Are they going to wear them? If they're going to wear them, Invisalign works really well because the hygiene tends to be better. They don't get the white spots. You don't get the pokey wires. We do a lot of early treatment if kids need a couple front teeth, if they got cross bites going on, or if there's social issues. A lot of times that Invisalign first option works well because of the hygiene. And most of the time at 7, 8, 9, they wear them, even if a lot of times we'll surprise the parents. But a lot of times most kids also like braces. They like the colors. They don't want to have to worry about keeping up with the Invisalign trays, and so braces is a good option. Most adults, I would say 80% of them, like to do the Invisalign because of their lifestyle. They don't want to have the traditional braces. They want to have something that's not as noticeable, and they are responsible for wearing them, and they don't have to keep up with a child making sure they're going to wear them or not. But most kids, if they are select to do Invisalign, they usually wear them. We don't have that issue a lot of times, and we make sure we track them, motivate them, give them all the tools they need. But when you come in for your complimentary exam, we'll go over both options, make sure you're a candidate for both, give you the pros and cons so you can make that decision. But really it comes down honestly with what your lifestyle is and which option you feel like is going to be best for you. So when I started practicing over 15 years ago, Invisalign was mainly for simple cases, for minor crowding and rotations of teeth. But now, 15 years later, I'm an Invisalign Diamond provider. We treat thousands of Invisalign patients. They can pretty much do everything that braces can do, from minor rotations and retreatment to overbites and even correcting cross bites, severe crowding, missing teeth, pretty much almost everything. If it's a very, very complex case, sometimes we do a combination of braces and Invisalign. That's the perks of seeing an orthodontist, is that we can do that. So if you want the Invisalign for your lifestyle, but you have certain teeth that really need extra help and force movement, we can do a combination of braces and Invisalign. But Invisalign has come a long way. A lot of patients come in, they don't think they're a candidate, and they're super surprised when we tell them, yes, absolutely, you can do Invisalign. And in our before and after page, we have some amazing before and afters of patients that we've treated with Invisalign that you can see. And when you come in, we have a whole book to show you different ways that we corrected people's smile, gave them the confidence they needed with Invisalign. So we have patients that come in and they're convinced Invisalign is going to cost a lot more than braces. I had a guy earlier this year that was convinced it was going to be double the amount of braces, and that he wasn't a candidate because he had severe crowding and his bite was deep and he just didn't think it was going to be corrected. And we took photos, took x-rays, took a digital scan of his teeth, and went over everything. And I told him, actually, you would be a great candidate for Invisalign. You got to wear them 20, 22 hours a day, and they will move the teeth, and they will get them to where they need to be. And he was super surprised. And I've had also other patients that have come in for second opinions where they were told they weren't a candidate, and we go over everything, and basically we tell them, you'd be a great candidate for Invisalign. You could also do braces, but most adults want to do Invisalign, and we've had it many times where they're surprised that they are actually great candidates, and after a year or two treatment, they've got that amazing smile, that confidence, and it's just been a really amazing tool that we use in orthodontics that has changed a lot in the last 15 years, and it's only going to get better as time goes on. So one thing that a lot of people might not know about Invisalign is that your results are dictated and planned before you ever put your first tray in. So we'll make a digital scan of your teeth, and then I will get on the computer personally and set up your case. And as a Diamond Invisalign provider, I've treated thousands of cases, and the experience comes with knowing how to move teeth, the timing of moving teeth, what cases work best with Invisalign versus what might need extra help with an appliance or with braces. But what it does is it allows me to get on the computer and make sure, and I see every single case, I set up every case to make sure that it's personalized for what you want and what's going to be best for your teeth and your lifestyle. And that's one of the great things about coming to see me at Central Orthodontics, is that we really do look at every case personally and do it personalized for what you need. So one of the questions I get a lot from parents is, when do you recommend braces over Invisalign for my kid? And usually I'll start asking questions. I'll ask the parent, I'll ask the kid about do they wear glasses, or do they have a cell phone? And if parents chime in and say, oh, he always forgets his glasses, or we can never find where his cell phone is, then usually I'm going to recommend braces. Because if we do Invisalign for that kid, the Invisalign trays are just going to sit in the counter, and they're not going to wear them, and they're not going to move the teeth. And then it's going to be very frustrating. And what happens is, a year later, we end up going into braces, And a lot of times that'll move into high school. So we're always very careful. The biggest thing is with Invisalign versus braces is not that Invisalign can't straighten the teeth or correct the bite. Is there a lifestyle or a personality or a compliance part of it that is going to work for that patient to wear Invisalign versus if braces are going to be the best part? Because when we put braces on their teeth, they're going to be moving teeth 24 hours a day. And a lot of kids, honestly, in middle school, they like the colors. They want to come in. We have colors of the month. And braces are really a great tool, and it works really well. And I think the majority of our teenagers still do braces, but more and more are choosing Invisalign because of the lifestyle. But we also want to make sure it's the right patient so that it doesn't create frustration for the kid and also for the parent. So if someone comes in my office and they're kind of stuck between braces or Invisalign, and they really don't know which option is going to be best for them, we'll go over both options together. And I will honestly tell them, like, if you were my parent, if you were my child, if you were a brother or sister, this is what I would recommend for you based on your lifestyle, based on what your goals are, and based on what I feel like is going to do the best job to get the results that you want. And you'll leave with an answer knowing which one's going to be the best option. And I'll make sure I sit down and answer all your questions. My treatment coordinators are also amazing at going over the different options and making sure that you are well educated and you can make that informed decision. So when you come in and you're potentially unsure about braces or Invisalign, you'll leave the office knowing which one's going to be the best for you.